Hi, grade 11s. This lesson today, we're going to be looking at something that is called the cosine law. So in the last cycle, we learned about something called the sine law. There's also something called the cosine law. I often now get the question, is there a tangent law? And the answer is no. There's only a sine law and a cosine law. So to kind of recap, we know with right angle triangles, we can use a squared plus b squared equals c squared. We can also use SOHCAHTOA. And for non-right angles, up until this point, as long as we can use the sine law, if we know a side and matching angle. But what happens if we know two sides and an angle, but none of them match up? Or what if we know all three sides? So today we're going to focus on if we know two sides and an angle. Okay. And there's a very specific way that it shows up. Okay. So this is called the law of cosine. So lots of different letters and things here, but the A, B, and C, how we label them, are really important. So if I have angle A is right here, then this is little a, it's across. So we kind of established this when we were doing the sine line. Then you'll notice that the side that we're looking for has the angle on the end. So this formula will be provided to you, but I kind of want to explain what each value means. So if I'm looking for side A, then I must know B and C, and I'm going to square them. And then the cosine of the A. So in this case, your angle is always sandwiched between the two sides that you know. So it's contained. Okay, so that's what that means. So you will have each of these formulas, or you'll be able to write them on your cheat sheet in order to do it. So let's actually look at an example here. So we're going to find the measure of this unknown side. So you'll see here how we have side, angle, side. So SAS, that means I have a side, an angle in the middle, and then another side. Whenever this happens, this is how we know we're going to use cosine law, because right now I can't use sine law. I have 105 and the X side. I have 13 centimeters, but I don't know the angle across from it. And I don't know the angle across from 25, so I can't use sine law here. So I'm just going to label these. I'm going to call this A, I'm going to call this B, and I'm going to call this C. So in reality, I'm looking for little b. So if I write out my formula, I know that b squared equals the other two sides, which are a squared and c squared, minus 2ac cosine of angle b. So now I'm going to substitute in my values. So a has a value of 25 squared plus c is 13 squared. Then I have minus 2 times 25 times 13 times the cosine of 105 degrees. So now you want to be able to do all of this on your calculator. You could do it in each individual part and write down the numbers and all that kind of stuff, but that becomes very tedious. So depending on your calculator, you may have to start with the cosine times 105 and then multiply by 13 and multiply by 25 and multiply by -2 and then add 13 squared and add 25. Or many of your calculators, you can type it exactly as is. So you're going to get 962.2324. And I want you to keep 4 decimal places. But we're not quite done because this is b squared. So I'm going to do b, which is the square root of 962 because I want to get b by itself. So b is going to equal, when you do that on your calculator, you're going to get 31 centimeters. So therefore, x, which equals b, is 31 centimeters. So this law of trigonometry very, very much depends on you using your calculator properly. Okay. So if you haven't tried it, make sure you try to use your calculator to make sure you get these correct answers. All right, let's do another example. So find side C if A is 4, B is 2.2, and angle C is 53. So I'm going to draw the triangle. And again, any triangle. So it's telling me little a is 4. So little a equals 4. Little b is going to be 2.2. And angle C is 53. And I knew I needed angle C because it has to be the angle that's between both sides that you have. So then now I'm looking for C. So I know that C squared is going to equal, I'm just going to put in my sides, 4 squared plus 2.2 squared minus 2 times 4 times 2.2. I'm just going to move this here out of the way. Times the cosine of 53. So C squared equals, and once again, you're putting all of this in on your calculator, and you should be getting 8.8037. Again, make sure you take 4 decimal places. My next step is going to be the square root of that number. So C equals 2.967, which equals, when I round that, 3 centimeters. So make sure you put your numbers in the right place and then use your calculator. And again, we use this for non-right triangles when we have side, angle, side. So the last thing I want to show you is there's actually a song that might help remember. So I'm going to start the song. There we go. So hopefully you're able to use the cosine law to answer the questions on the 5.4 handout. We'll see you next week.